This one, really awesome. This is from football player Dez Bryant, former Cowboys wide receiver.
Cowboys, yes.
Yeah.
It's a break generational curses. Quit yelling at your kids before they go to bed and expect them to sleep well. Quit yelling at your kids in the morning right after they wake up before school and expect them to have a good day. Kindness and hope. Speak wisdom and truth. Most of all, listen to your children.
Powerful.
Yeah.
The fact that he says, like, I didn't have any of that, but this is how I break the generational curse in my family. The one that kind of hit me hard on this one was, what's up, my friends? Welcome to the Proud Papi Podcast. My name is Benny. I'm so glad that you're here today because we are going to react to some fatherhood clips. So go ahead and check it out. So Ruthie sent me something. And
she's not a dad.
She's not a dad, but she sent it to me saying, maybe you should use this for a dad tip. So...
Is it listen to your wife? Or?
No, it has nothing. Although... we were talking about ways to de-stress as a dad.
Yeah.
On an episode.
Right.
A couple weeks ago. Uh-huh. And one of the things I had mentioned, I had said, we had talked about like, oh, well, after work, instead of going straight home, maybe go to a coffee shop, get a coffee. Like,
oh, yeah.
And, and I was like, I don't know if I would to tell Ruthie, like, I'm going to go to a coffee shop and get a coffee, she's going to look at me and tell me, well, when do I go? And then you replied, which I acknowledge that's good. As you said, well, then you respond to her like, honey, you deserve to go. When would you like to go? And I said, you know what? That's good advice.
Yeah. I gave it.
Well, my wife decides to screenshot that part.
Yeah.
Send it to me and say, maybe you should listen to your brother. And I said, look, I acknowledge if you listen to I say that's good. That's really good.
Yeah.
So I did listen to my brother.
Did she go?
Yeah. No. No. I haven't. I mean, we haven't. Sure. She's had coffee.
Well, that's good.
She's had her Starbucks, so it's okay. Yeah. We're good. But I will listen to my brother.
Yeah.
Thanks, babe. But anyway, she sent this to me. We send each other parenting stuff like back and forth because it's parenting is such a complex thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like
multifaceted.
Us as papis, we have our own ideas, how we were brought up, things that we want to change differently from how we were brought up, things that we want to implement that we think works. Well, guess what? If you're married, or if you're not, your partner, your wife, has their own whole set of ideas. Like, you know what I mean? And so when you come together, you kind of assume like, oh, well, we're on the same page, right? Yeah, you don't even talk about it. We're on the same page. And then you have a child, and then all of a sudden you realize, crap, no, we're not. We're not on the same page at all. You have your ideas. I have mine. Some of our ideas are complete opposite of each other.
Yeah.
And going into our marriage, we didn't talk about parenting. We didn't talk about parenting dating. We didn't talk about parenting when we're engaged. We didn't talk about parenting at all. Why? Because I'm a Christian and she's a Christian, so it should be fine. No problem at all. Right?
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake. Yeah, we didn't even discuss like disciplining, spanking, And keep in mind, like my wife's parents are separated, so her experience is a lot different than mine.
Right.
My parents are happily married, so like there were things in our upbringing that were like, this, especially her, she's like, this is like dysfunction. I don't want to bring this into my kid's life, right? A lot of things that I didn't experience and don't even think about because that wasn't my experience. But there'd be things that I would do that would trigger these things for her. Like, nope, I said I don't want that. I don't want that. And and I'm like, what did I do? I didn't, So you don't realize this until you have a kid. Well, if you're not smart like us, you don't realize this until you have a kid.
No, I mean, we talked about it, but you still don't realize it.
No, but we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
We just assumed that it would, and look at, we're great parents.
Yeah, you guys are great parents. Yeah.
I'm a great papi. She's a great mommy. Like, we're great. We do our thing. We're not perfect.
Right.
But dude, I love my kids. I think I have the best kids in the world. They all have their intricate, ways, and they all have their things that are like, oh my God, driving me nuts. but at the end of the day, like they're great kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't like talk any. So we send each other stuff back and forth. I feel like we've learned a lot in the last like 2-3 years about each other, about parenting, about our kids, that have kind of put us in a position to help set us up where like we have Dalia, that we're like a lot more on the same page. So sorry, Mateo, that you got mom and dad when they're in their early stages, but we're a lot more polished now. And that's, again, we're not perfect, but we have a lot more experience.
We have a better understanding.
We have a better understanding of each other.
Right. What kind of family you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. So, so this is something that she sent, and I thought this was really good, because it doesn't specifically just talk about dads, talk about moms too, but I like this for dads because dads have a hard time with this. And this is from John Deloney. Deloney, I think this is how you say his name. He says, make it a regular practice to touch your young kids on the face. Hold their face in the palms of your hands, look into their eyes, and smile at them. Yes, you too, dads. For older kids, hug them and hold your hand on the back of their head. These simple actions can down-regulate your kids' nervous system, help their body relax, and help you be deeply present with them. Do this every single day. It'll mean more to your kids than you know.
It's very true.
So make it a practice to touch your young kids on the face, hold their face in the palms of your hands, look in their eyes, smile at them. For the older kids, hug them, hold your hand on the back of their head. And he's sharing things that it like physically does to the kids, like it regulates their nervous system, right? It calms them down, probably brings them like a sense of comfort, peace, and then also like there's a connection, Dads have a hard time doing that. Like we do. Like, my dad wasn't like touchy-feely. Like, I don't remember my dad would like hold me in the face, angel baby, like he wouldn't do that. My mom would, but my dad wouldn't. Now with my boys, I feel like I've that's one thing that I'm like, I want to change this. Like I want my kids to have this from me, to touch them on the face. I love to hold them in the back of their head. I like to rub the back of their head or, do one of those, like just like
mess up their hair.
Yeah. Like just let them know like, hey man, like I love you, I wrestle my kids, so that's a little bit more like kind of roughhousing, but I wrestle with them. Dude, they should see some of the kicks they throw at me. It hurts sometimes. But I wrestle with them, so I feel like this is something that I'm like, I feel good that I'm like going in the right direction. Yeah. And then with Dalia, obviously, yes, holding her, kissing her, like all the things, But yeah, I think it's a good dad tip for dads. Like, don't be afraid to like, put your hand on your kid's face. Yeah. Look at them in the eye. Hey, I love you. Like you're beautiful. You're awesome. You're handsome. Whatever. But like have that physical touch with them because there is a connection there. Like we have hands. It's one of the senses. And then also I think our kids like they feel loved and seen and all those things. Not just from mom, but from dad too.
Yeah. No, it's big. I mean, I'm in a very sweet time. James is 4.5. He'll be 5 in June. Yeah. And very affectionate, very sweet. Yeah. And I think a big part of that was me being intentional with that. I know COVID was really hard for a lot of people, and obviously it was difficult for us too, but James was about 9 months or so when COVID happened. And so to be home with him through the 9 month, through, the 1.5 year age, and just being able just to be with him and hold him and play with him. And this was before I was self-employed, right? So I was still working for the church and stuff. And granted, it's still a flexible schedule, but still, to have all that time was really special. And for me, I am the AM person. I'm in charge for AM. I let my wife sleep in the morning. And right now ranges from, on a good day, 7 a.m. to 5, sometimes a little earlier.
Nice.
So I get to spend a lot of time with him in the morning. Yeah. And so a lot of that time is, which I now started implementing about 2 weeks ago, but I've been doing this, trying to read the Bible in a year, which I've been, a month in. So nice. Cool. But I started implementing a couple weeks ago to pray before. And I invite him to come pray with me. I don't force him to pray with me, but I invite him to come. And just those little prayers, I think, are really special between me and him, just to kind of hear where his heart's at. But a lot of time of our morning is playing chiropractor or playing school kind of thing. When I drop him off at school, it's very much, give him a hug, give him a kiss, and wish him off. And same when I see him in the morning. And so I am very affectionate that way. Like one of my love languages, if you want to pull a retro reference, is physical touch. And so I very much receive and give that into that. Even with my bros, still do it. I think for them it's more embarrassing than it is for me. But as we probably have touched on earlier in these episodes, I have no shame. I care very little about what other people think about me. That's true. So I want to, I express my love in that way. And if they're uncomfortable with it, it's even better. Granted, I do with people that I know. It's not as like random stranger. Kind of thing.
What up, bro?
Give him a kiss. Come over here. But yeah, no, I think it really is. It is important, especially those younger ages. Yeah, they really need to know that you're there. So that's a good way of doing it.
And I think what we do with our kids is kind of like how they'll interact with us when we're older too. I really try to put my arm around dad and but I'm not like, you know what I mean? Like it's not like that with us. Like it's not like, and again, I'm 36 years old. I'm almost a full grown man. I don't need him to hold my face. I don't need him to
you should do it.
Rub my head.
You should just hold his face.
No, I'm saying I don't need it, but if he did it, man, it would make me feel like, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying is if whatever I do with the boys now, that's how they're going to kind of treat me later too. If I just hope they don't wrestle with me, but if I'm putting my arm around them, one of my favorite things is sitting, watching a movie with them, because Mateo will just get up super close to me and cuddle with me. Mm-hmm. And that's the best, And I want him to feel like he could sit close to me. He doesn't have to give dad his space, or not, you know what I mean? I don't want him to feel that way. He could always sit with me and cuddle with me. And
though sometimes it would be nice to have some personal space.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, we've talked about how Mateo's I want to join. He's trying to always get in there, but on moments where it's more organic, it's the best thing in the world. Yeah. And again, as a dad, I think that's important for us to do. Not just mom. That is not just mom's job. It's dad's job as well to give that to our kids, because they need it. To say a child doesn't need that from both parents is a lie. They need it from both parents. It's as humans, it's one of the way we communicate our affection, our love for other people. Yeah, is by giving them a hug, a certain type of handshake. I know that since COVID, everyone's all about bumping fists, but that's low altitude connection there. You're not. Sorry, that's a Pastor Chad thing, dude. I'm sorry. That's dude, that man, love that guy. But that's a basic. That's, you know what I mean? And I get it. Protection from COVID and don't want to get sick, whatever. But man, when I see people that I really love, I love a good hug. I love putting my arm around them. I love, even if it's just a special handshake and a bring it in, brother, you know,
kiss on the cheek,
yeah, kiss on both cheeks. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, but I enjoy that because it's, as humans, it's, you cannot deny that we share love and affection through our physical body.
Yeah,
we do, you know, like, and so with our kids, it's like, yeah, like we should be able to put our arm around them and hold their face and, you know, like one of the other things, like when we're walking across the street, like Mateo and able to go and grab my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, cool. Like, I want that. Yeah. Grab my hand. We're walking across the street, you know, or we're just walking, whatever. But yeah, I'm your dad. You should feel safe with me.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So Ruthie, thank you for that. That was awesome.
There's a cool story tied to this. So like probably a year ago, James started having nightmares in the middle of the night. Mm-hmm. And so he would come into the room being very scared. I would try and keep him within the bed, but then, you know, he would keep crying. So I came and brought him into the room.
Yeah.
And he still does that now. And for a long time, I was like, gosh, what? Like, I can't get any good sleep.
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm like sleeping on my back. I'm a stomach sleeper. He, you know, his legs were always kicking. He runs hot. I run hot. You know, it's very uncomfortable, right? Yeah. And so for a while, we're like, when is he going to grow out of this? And, you know, part of it for me was like, you know what? Maybe I should like really treasure it because he will eventually grow out of it. He's not going to want to eventually sleep in.
Right.
And it wasn't until about a month or so ago he came in. He came in earlier than usual, which I thought was interesting. And but we didn't hear him crying. He came in and, you know, hey, everything all right? Yeah. Okay. You know, did you have a bad dream? No. And then he just came into bed and slept. And I realized he just wants to be with us.
That's
like
cool.
there was no bad dream. It was just like, I want to sleep in mom and dad's bed. And like for me, it was very like a very humbling and like a very much like a, I felt like that was very much like a God moment for me of like this, like, you know, you sought wisdom and saying that, you know, let him doing this and kind of gave me new perspective on that time and just being like, okay, you know what? Like, yeah, I'm probably not going to have like a really solid, you know, good night's sleep for probably, I don't know, maybe the next year and a half.
Yeah.
But, you know, when he's older, you know, those are going to be the memories that's like, oh man, I miss when he comes into my bed.
Yeah.
You know, and just like wants to cuddle in and, you know, he gets up in the morning. So funny. He's become very much a professional now. He gets up. I'm ready to go. Okay. Well, you know, go potty and then come back. And so he'll go potty. He'll come back. I'm ready, Dad. Oh, okay. All right. All right. He'll come out and he'll go into the living room. So, but yeah, just it was a nice perspective for me of like, you know what, I need to stop looking at this at the you know, as a short-sighted kind of thing and really look at this as a long run and really treasure those moments because they happen too fast. They grow too fast.
So. Yeah. Good stuff. I got some fatherhood clips. These kind of range from funny to more thoughtful. I kind of wanted us to check some of these out, react to them, give our thoughts. Now, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the 5 things that I've learned about fatherhood. And the first one on that list was diaper blowouts. I said they were overrated, right? I hadn't experienced anything bad from them. Well, this first clip is about diaper blowouts and the experience that this dad had. And so I wanted to check this out.
Are you okay?
It's warm and wet.
Well, Nova.
Nova. God.
Okay, so it happens.
It does.
Okay,
it does.
I haven't experienced anything that bad where it's like there's that much out of the diaper.
Me either.
Don't lie.
Same to you, my son. I will not share that story.
Yeah.
It has happened.
But I mean, I think like something like that, I'm like, oh, okay, so people do have a hard time. Or, you know, there is such thing as like and I mean, that's to me is not like super bad. I just thought it was funny because I was looking for these And the first one I got was this one about diaper plot. And I'm like, why do I feel like my Instagram is...
It's listening. It's always listening.
My Instagram is listening to my podcast. That's awesome. I love it. Here's the next one.
What's wrong?
She was crying and looking at me, dude. Stop.
The look she's giving you?
Oh, okay, I'm done. Just take my time. Stop.
Okay, this guy has 2 sons. This is his first daughter, and he's obviously wrapped around his daughter's fingers. Already. And you know what? I 100% relate with the guy. I really believe. Now, I feel like I'm always, well, not always, but I feel like I cry a lot. It's just, you could tell by the podcast. Like, yeah, like I'm very much in touch with that. And I don't find any shame in that. But like since Dahlia was born, I find myself even more softer than before. I don't know if it's the fact that I have a little girl. Like, I don't know what it is, but like looking at her, I'm like, oh my God, like she, like literally sometimes that's me. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. Like looking at her or she does something cute and it's like, oh my God, I'm like completely in love with this little girl, and not to say that I don't love my boys. I do. I love my boys, but having a girl is different.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that I've gotten softer. And what I mean by that is just like more in touch with my feelings and more like lovey-dovey with my, and you know what? It's not just with Dahlia. It's like with all the kids now.
Yeah.
Like even more with the boys, it kind of has gone over to just everybody. Hey, even my wife, like everybody, so I relate. I know that
I don't have a girl.
Maybe the next one.
Girl. Maybe.
We'll see. Hoping. That's what we're hoping for. Yeah. I've shared honestly and openly here that like, look, my patience was not great starting out when I had kids, and there was times I yelled at them, and honestly, still kind of do.
Yeah.
Depending on the type of day, I feel like I've gotten a little bit better at it in the last like couple months, but but Ruthie's told me this, and she's even said it like, I don't want the last moment with the kids before they go to bed to be us yelling at them. I just don't want them to go to sleep like that, So when I put them to bed, I'm like, come on, hurry to bed. All right, bedtime, guys, come on. But so I'm not even when I don't yell, I'm like, there's even moments I'm like rushing them. Come on, all right, bedtime. All right, guys. All right, good night, love you. Let's pray. Okay, guys, love you guys. See you guys tomorrow. Good night. And then I'll go out, and then Ruthie's like, why are you rushing them to bed like that? I'm like, it's bedtime. And she's just like, is that the last thing you want? Like, is that how you want your kids to go to bed with? Is almost like this, like, okay, like, get out of my hair. Like, I got things to do. And I was like, no, it's not what I want.
Yeah. The bedtime one is so hard too.
It is.
Because, especially in the early development, there's so many stages like sleep regression or like, taking out a nap kind of thing.
Right.
Or just, like them just getting older and having a later bedtime,
Yeah.
So, and it really can be, it can be frustrating because it's like, you're right. We, like as much as we don't like to admit it, we sometimes like having a life outside of our kids. And so like we have stuff planned, we have schedules and that kind of thing. And for most kids, they usually don't operate on schedules. So how do you mitigate that without, changing anything? And there have been lots of times where I just kind of lost my patience, especially when we were right in between cutting a nap out or not, because it would take like close 2.5 to 3 hours to go to bed. Like we would start at like 6 and I would be leaving the room at 9 and like, what just happened?
Yeah.
And at some points, like, I'm very thankful for my, because there were times where she kind of tapped me out. She's like, okay, let me try, kind of thing. You've been in there for an hour and a half. Let me go try. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this was during the time too, where he was in a crib and he wanted to be snuggled. And so like, I'm just like in this Rubik's Cube of like, you know, severely uncomfortable legs falling asleep, arms falling asleep kind of thing. And just feeling like I just don't understand why you can't go to sleep, you know, kind of thing. Yeah. Like, come on, like we already been over this kind of thing. Kind of what we were talking about, a couple weeks last week ago, where it's like, you know, you should know this by now. You know how we operate. Bedtime happens every night. Right. Why aren't you getting this? But it does. It definitely sets a tone for how they sleep, how they wake up, how they start their day. Yeah. I think for me now, it's more like rushing to school. Like, yeah, he really loves his grandparents and they live here with us. And so, this morning was a little bit tough because Grandpa came in a little bit later and he wanted to hang out with Grandpa before he left to school. And so it was very much, you know, like I wanted to go see Grandpa kind of thing. And obviously we want to foster that relationship. And, you know, I'm trying to remind him, hey, if you don't see him this morning, you'll see him in this afternoon. And I had to realize, like, you know what? If he's a little bit late to school, but he's leaving, like, happy because he got to see Grandpa, then maybe that's a worthy sacrifice. Maybe things just push a little later today. Yeah, right. So.
Yeah, I think, like, you know, just taking the perspective of, like, you know, how are we really setting our kids up, you know, for good things that way, you know, like, I mean, when they have nightmares and things like that, you can't necessarily control that. I mean, there are probably things that you could do to help, but you can't really like stop them from having nightmares, you know, but it's, you know, when I put them to bed, like, am I yelling at them? And then they're like, you know, Dad just yelled at me and I, you know, whatever. Plus, like I've been having nightmares, you know, like all that going through their mind, you know, like, no, like you would want to leave them, you know, peaceful, knowing that they're home, they're comfortable, they're safe, they're, you know, everything's okay. And sometimes my tone coming in wouldn't match that, you know, and so, but I think it's awesome, you know, when a dad that doesn't have something is like, I'm going to break this generational curse. And I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna do something different, you know. And somebody that we know that I'll share here is our brother-in-law Shane, right? Like didn't grow up with his dad at all, and the dude is a very involved, like excellent dad because he was just like, I'm just gonna be there, like My dad wasn't, but I'm gonna change this. I'm gonna do this differently, you know. And now. His kids, my nephews, their niece, like they're benefiting from that, you know. And I think that's awesome when a dad is just like, I'm just going to change it. I'm going to do different. Like if your dad dealt with alcohol issues and you decide like, no, I'm going to live sober because I don't want my kids to have that same issue. That's great. Like do that, you know. Or if maybe at home you grew up in a home where not very healthy eating, you know, and you're like, well, I don't want my kids to have like the types of issues that kind of are running in our family, you know, like I'm going to change that. I'm going to change this, you know, like that's great. Yeah. Maybe you grew up in a family that didn't know how to handle money very well. So you decide as a dad, I'm going to learn finances and I'm going to change this generational curse. My family's not going to have that burden of finances on them. I'm going to handle it. Like, that's great. Like, I think it's great for us to think of those things that we want to change or break to set our family up for success, you know, like put our family in a better position. I think there's nothing wrong. Like my kids, I hope that my kids will be able to think of something that I did and go, I'm going to do that differently than what dad did. Mm-hmm. I want them to do that. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm sure my dad wants us to do that. Like we've talked about it. He shared a lot of his faults, a lot of the things that he lacked in and said, you know, like, yeah, I wish I was better here, you know, and then made comments to how he was like, you guys are doing better in that area, you know? So I think it's natural for parents to want their kids to do better. So since we are in the position of the parent, we should want to do better than our parents, you know? So powerful clip. And that's from Dez Bryant. I mean, you know, the multimillionaire, like the guy who's a great football player, but his what he's focused on is fatherhood, his relationship with his kids.
Yeah, super cool.
You gonna say something?
No, yeah, no, I think that sums it up pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's some funny ones. I love this conversation between a father and daughter.
Daddy, my sweetheart, there's some chocolate in your office. Can I have some, pretty, please? Remember I shared the chocolate with you? It would be nice if you shared some chocolate with me. Sharing is good, but sharing is fun.
I love you too, princess. I love you lots, millions and billions and trillions. Did you say that you love me because you wanted my chocolate?
No, I love you anyway, silly dilly. Dad, can you say yes or no and eat it, please? Taking so long, buddy, daddy.
Okay, sweetheart, okay, you can have the chocolate. But don't finish all of it, okay?
Okay, Daddy, I'll save some for you, cutie pie. Thank you. This chocolate is delicious, Dad. It's amazing.
Oh man, kids say the darnest things, dude. Like,
it was a show, wasn't it?
It was a show, but they do though. Like the things that they say and come up with. One of my favorite things that like the boys do is like they will present an idea as if it was my idea. They come up to me like, and this is just an example of how this is not an exact story, but an example. We'll eat dinner, and then maybe Mateo comes up to me and is like, "Dad, dinner was good today, wasn't it?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was great." Yeah, but I'm still kind of hungry. I'm like, well, there's leftovers. You want leftovers? No. But I don't know, maybe like something sweeter than dinner. I'm like, oh, like a dessert. Yeah, Dad, like a dessert. I'm like, huh, okay, well, I don't know what we have for dessert. It'd be kind of nice if we had like some ice cream. And I'd be like, well, let's go look if we have ice cream. That's a great idea, Dad. We should go, like something like that. Like
setting you up.
Yeah, dude. Like just making it like you're so smart, Dad. Like you got this, But I thought this conversation was so cute just because the nicknames Silly Dilly and Cutie Pie and Buddy Duddy, I think. Yeah, and then obviously their accent makes it that much better. But of course. Any like cute things or that James will say to you, nicknames or
all the time?
Yeah, like what?
All the time. Well, so I have many nicknames for him. His thing right now is he really likes rhyming words that aren't words. Oh. And he thinks that's really funny. So he's like, "Hey, Dada, like, wouldn't that be funny if you were gaga googie gigo ga?" Like, yeah, like, isn't that funny? It's like, yeah, sure. So we've got James and JW. Those are regulars, but I call him Jamesy. But then I'll kind of dive a little bit into that, where I'll call him like Wombo or like Jumbo, kind of thing. And so one thing that I'll tell him, I'll be like, "Oh, Jameso, you're the best Yambo Wombo," and I'll go, "Huh?" And I'll go, "What?" And we'll just kind of go back and forth. So between that and on Spotify, I have a Norteño Cristianos playlist that we play. And there's this song called Me Da Gozo. Okay. And it begins with this tambali thing. And then this guy starts in Con Gozo. So anytime we're around anything that could be a drum, James will stop and yell, "Con Gozo!" and of course, if like norteño music, there's all these little "uy" or like "huy," kind of thing, or those kind of things. So he'll do like ad libs. Yeah, so he'll do "Con Gozo," and then go "Dada uy." Uy. I was like, yeah, get it, James, get it.
So, dude, that's so funny, man. The best. All right, I got two more here. Funny, some funny things here. Let's check this one out. my gosh, dude. I mean, I don't throw plates at my kids, but bro, like the kids know how to get on your nerves.
Oh yeah.
They know how. They know what you don't like. The things that you say no to, they do it over and over again until you do something to show them that you don't like it, you know? I thought this was funny because I'm like, I could definitely see that could be me in 15, 20 years. That could be me.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
I'll be in better shape. But throwing a plate at my kid because they're doing the turkey golf. Bro, if I had a double, if I had, my chin was more, triple chin or whatever, and the boys went, bro, I would be so pissed. I would be grabbing a plate and throwing the plate. Man. I mean, come on.
Abel is not that far off from finding that
I know.
point, dude.
I know, but and then hitting the fat on the arm and then go. Oh, that's too funny. All right, last one. Check this out. Pretty cool.
No, it's gone.
Oh, one more time.
No, it's gone.
Look how he wiggles the clip, dude. Dude, kids are so smart.
Yeah.
Like, and we see this type of stuff with Dalia all the time, where she's doing things and we're like, "Who taught you how to do that?" And then I love how the kid at the end is just like, "I still got it." And you got to love kids for that. Like they'll figure stuff out. They'll figure out how to get to something. They'll figure, and they'll do the funniest things. Those are just some of the fatherhood clips I saw on Instagram today. And I think it's like a good, I wanted to show these because I'm like, we talk a lot on the podcast. It's what we do.
That happens.
It happens quite a bit. But I felt it was good to show some videos of what actually happens,
Yeah.
We don't all experience everything, but a lot of this stuff is relatable for us. One of my favorite accounts is Create Dope Humans. And it's kind of like just like a feel good account. Like they post feel good stuff. It's all like good news, great story, heartwarming story, funny story, things like that.
Yeah.
And I thought I just caught myself, but I didn't. I'm like bleeding. I'm like, I don't know why. But one of the things that I love about that Instagram profile is that they do a lot of, fatherhood relationships, like with their sons.
Yeah.
And I love seeing stuff like that because, number one, I'm a visual learner and I enjoy watching things. And it helps. But I also think we've talked about this, how there's almost like this narrative around fatherhood, around parenting, that just dads aren't present, not around, and the statistics are showing that number is going up. But I'm like, but everywhere in my circles, in my community, I see the opposite. I see dads who are stepping up. I see dads who are taking responsibility in their roles. And you could probably say, well, that I'm delusional, or that maybe my circle is so small that it's just us two and that's all I see. Whatever. You can say whatever you want to say. All I know is that in my circles that I feel is mixed. Yeah, I go to church, and yes, I see a lot of at church, but even friends that I know that don't go to church, and actually we're going to have a guest on here coming soon.
Oh, great.
I'm seeing dads taking responsibility. Mm-hmm. And I feel like for us as dads, it's good to see that.
Yeah.
To show yeah, dude, it's happening. There are men out there that are being men and being dads, taking their responsibility, leading their families, loving their kids, loving their wives, taking care of their family. I think it's good for us to see that.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to show some of this stuff because, some of it's funny, but it's happening. It's out there, and I think sometimes we let the bad news kind of
Any shout outs you want to make to dads that you feel in your circles that are killing it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can name a few. Lanny, Mike, Corey, Joe, my boys, Sal. Those guys inspire me and encourage me to keep doing what I'm doing, and also stretch myself more.
Yeah.
You
I mean, James' godparents, Luke Haley, I think he's killing it as a dad. Andrew, a friend of mine, I think he's just absolutely killing it, like as a dad. And then Jesse, who's our worship pastor, he's got 3 kids now, and I think they're all under 5. Yeah. So just seeing him balance, ministry life and kids, and it's been pretty amazing. So,
and I'll say one more. I'll say Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan Hall, the dude. I don't see him often. We don't hang out like that like we used to, but man, that guy could easily, honestly, just say how much he's had to go through, how much his family's had to go through. He doesn't talk about that when I see him. It's about his, like, how much he loves his girls, how much he loves his wife. Life isn't easy, but he's present. You know what I mean? Like, he's just like, and I love guys like that, because it's like, it kind of reminds me of the story of like Job, right? Like, they could easily just like give up, but they don't, because they understand that the responsibility is more than just about being comfortable in the moment.
Yeah.
Like, that's what being a good papi is all about. Being a good dad is understanding that it's not about you being comfortable.
Yeah.
It's not. It's about the benefit of your kids, the benefit of your family. That is above your comfort zone. So shout out to all the Proud Papis out there.
Shout out to you.
Thank you. Shout out to you too, bro.
Thank you.
So shout out to this Proud Papi right here. And so, I think it's good to see stuff like this, see other like heartwarming stories, because we need that reminder that it's not all bad news. So
that's good.
Hey, you guys, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. And let's do something a little different. I want you to go ahead and tag all the Proud Papis that you know right now down in the comments. Let's shout them out. Let's show them some love and put it out there that there are Proud Papis all around us. Love you guys. And if this is your first time at the podcast, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, because we drop new episodes every single week all about fatherhood. So go ahead and do that. I love you guys. Until next time, peace out.